Hello, welcome everybody to Halloween Evil Lives Live. I'm your host, Michael. Tonight I'm joined by some special guests. I've got Dan and Eva of Vamp Chat, and also they're both authors. Dan is author of Fiona's Guardians, and Eva is author of the vampire book of Fury. Welcome to the show.
Hey,
Thank
it's great
you.
to be here.
Thank you for having us.
All right, did one of you want to go first and just give us a little bit of your background and how you got into writing some vampire fiction novels?
Ladies first.
Dan, go ahead.
Are you sure? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been writing. Well, I've been writing since I was 16, but I hadn't written a vampire story until 2017 when I wrote a story called The Caretaker that got published in the journal Crack the Spine. And that story is essentially three early chapters of the novel that followed, Fiona's Guardians. So it was just a simple way to introduce the vampire Fiona and her human guardian Daniel to the world. And the short story got really good reviews, so the reviewers encouraged me to build out an entire novel based on these two characters. And that's when Fiona's Guardians came out. And then this July, I will have the sequel.
Awesome, awesome. And your works, Eva?
Yeah. So I actually didn't intend to be. I wasn't a writer. I was barely a reader. And so I took some time off, wrote a book, and decided that I really liked writing. It was I was in my 40s, and then wrote. I'd been toying with a book in the back of my mind. Called That's how the Fury trilogy started, and so I just decided to sit down and write it, and yeah, just get it out. So I wasn't a writer. I wasn't a writer at the beginning. I didn't find out until later that I really love it, and so now I'm working on the second. Hopefully it will be out about probably February, March.
Awesome, awesome stuff. And we will post the links down below they give us. And when this airs, you guys will be able to check out their works and their books. And would you guys like to talk more about your show that you have, Vamp Chat? I see you guys get a lot of viewers on there.
Well, yeah, we've had some real high-powered guests lately. The most famous authors that we've interviewed are New York Times bestsellers, J.R. Ward, who was our season closer just last month, and P.C. Cast, both of whom are having their works adapted for either film or a streaming series. And we've had some other really fascinating guests, Eva, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. We have interviewed Decker Stoker, who's the great grandnephew of Bram Stoker. We have interviewed, PC Cast, who is the author of the House of Night series. We've also interviewed three-time Oscar winner V. Neal. She's a special effects makeup artist. She Oscar for Ed Wood, Mrs. Doubtfire, and Beetlejuice, but she was also the head makeup artist for The Lost Boys. As well as she was the head of the makeup department for Priest. So we've had some really, really interesting guests.
That's awesome. What do you guys think? What keeps the interest and the fandom for vampire fiction? Do you think it's just everybody wants to, get away from real life and just enjoy a great adventure?
There's that. And I certainly, I think a lot of readers love to get lost in a story, and I think that's such a powerful thing to be able to do. But I also think of vampires as great metaphors for the things that drain our energy. It could be the neighbor next door, or a family member, or a coworker. It could be a government or corporate entities making you feel poor every week, or something like that. So I was hoping at the end of Fiona's Guardians that readers would ask themselves, who's my vampire?
Yeah, that's a good summary of that. What do you think, Eva? Do you think, I see that Twilight came back to the theater. Breaking Dawn is playing again at some of the theaters. Do you think there's just a passion of the fans?
I think that vampires are never going to go out of style. Several of our guests have said when we asked them about it that vampires, and I think there's always the nostalgia of the older. For example, I'm Gen A, it's Fright Night and Lost Boys, the 1979 Dracula with oh, help me, Dan, I'm drawing a total blank.
Frank
Frank
Langella.
Langella. Yeah.
Frank Langella, thank you. Oh my gosh. And and I think as we get older, we like the nostalgia of it. They're trying to, drawing moviegoers back. And but then we've also got all the new ones coming out, which is every generation has their favorite vampire. I'm excited about I've actually seen and reviewed the new Dracula, A Love Tale that's sweeping through Europe right now. And when that comes out here in the US in it's cute, the first quarter of, I'm not sure whether it's February or March when it's going to hit the US, but I'm expecting that to it's amazing. I mean, it's just amazing. So, we'll have a whole new generation of vampire lovers from that, I'm sure, as well as some of the old just enjoying the same story being told, but in a new and different way. So.
Yeah, I look forward to that. I thought it was coming out already. I was looking for it, but not out yet. I did see Nosferatu. What did you guys think of that take of Nosferatu that came out?
It was great. I loved it. I think I still prefer the 1979 version. By the way, can you hear me? It seems my image is frozen on the screen.
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Okay, cool. I liked the new Robert Eggers Nosferatu very much, but I still think that the 1979 with Klaus Kinski and Isabel Adjani was perhaps a better film, or at least had a little more maybe artistry to it, which I appreciated. But I did very much appreciate what Robert Eggers did.
Yeah.
How about you, Eva?
I enjoyed it. I really did. I've never been a Nosferatu fan, but I really enjoyed the take that they did with it. I thought they did a great job with the special effects. I thought they, I'd never really gotten into the Nosferatu, but I actually enjoyed this one. I was actually more excited this year about Sinners. That was more my speed. I'm more of a standard Dracula kind of fan. So Nosferatu's, I can appreciate it. It's not one of my favorite characters, but
it did remind me kind of like the Francis Ford Coppola Dracula. Did you get that feeling too?
Maybe a little bit. The gothic, the more gothic aspect of it, I could see. But I mean, it's hard to match the Coppola Dracula. Now, I will say, and I said this in my review, that I never thought Gary Oldman would be challenged, and the new Dracula is a definite challenge to the 2013 Dracula. So
okay,
or is it
I definitely
2009?
Have to see.
Sorry, I did
1992.
It again, oh my God. See, I do this.
Yeah.
He has corrected me on this. I can't. The Gary Oldman Dracula. I can't. I'm
Yeah.
terrible with dates.
And it's
but
Caleb Landry Jones, right? Caleb Landry
Yeah,
Jones, who's
Caleb Landry Jones. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the new Dracula.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's phenomenal.
Wasn't there a Dracula that Klaus, the BBC, right? They had a Dracula series.
Yes.
Klaus
did review that.
Bangs was his name?
Klaus Bang, yeah. And I did a review of that a few weeks, maybe about a month ago on Vamp Chat. Also very good. I liked how they portrayed, I think Klaus Bang sort of interpreted the character as more of a gourmet of human blood and human suffering. And that was an interesting take. Yeah.
When he comes out of the wolf, like their different form of shapeshifting, is he actually birthed out of those? That was interesting take on shapeshifting.
It really was. Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many variations of vampires. I mean, just over the seasons that we've had and the reviews that we've done. I mean, you can take, we talk about this often, you can take the vampire and it morphs into so many different ideas and concepts and tropes, and there's so much to play with that it's fun. It's really fun to watch what people have done with it. And we also talk about the evolution of the vampire, because you went from the fangless Bela Lugosi to to the scary to the then back to the sexy, and then back to the scary with Voyage of the Demeter, the Voyage of the Demeter, Nosferatu, and now with this new Dracula, you're going to go back to the sexy. So it ebbs and flows. It's really interesting.
Yeah, like the creepy, gory ones from The Strain. Remember that show? That was a big
Oh
show
yeah, I
on
love the
FX.
Strain. I love the
And
Strain.
and The Passage on Fox was pretty good, but I don't know why it got canceled. I think there was a lot of promise there.
Yeah.
The vampire show, The Promise, The
Hmm.
Passage.
Hmm.
I read that
Yeah.
book. It was a pretty good book.
Yeah. Yeah. I've loved Black Mass. Black Mass has been a great new. I love when they take the story and go someplace completely new. I like the old, but when they take it and go someplace just completely new, that to me is wonderful. I love watching the creativity around it.
Yeah, and a lot of the new elements that you can add has to do, I think, with tropes. I think that the more creative either filmmakers or authors become with tropes, I think the more likely the allure of the vampire will continue, for future generations.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like they had a lot of remakes, the last couple of years. We had a Fright Night remake. What did you guys
Mhm.
think about that with Colin Farrell as Jerry Dandridge? That was interesting, right?
Yes, Eva and I did a sort of a Fright Night fight, if you can want to put it, where it wasn't a fight, but Eva reviewed in the same episode the 1985 original, and then I did the 2011 with Colin Farrell, and it's one of our more entertaining segments, actually, because I was not very charitable to the remake, but I also explained. I explained a couple of things, a couple of reasons why Colin Farrell should have worked harder to make himself more menacing and also sexier, or whatever it takes. Whatever quality it is that makes a vampire so magnetic. I felt that he could have stepped up a little more.
I saw it in
And I had
3D,
the
and
easy
when they
one.
killed the vampires, the ash was still floating in the movie theater. It was kind
Oh
of
wow,
cool.
neat. Yeah, yeah.
That would be cool. That would be cool. Yeah, I had the easy part. I had the 1985, so it was Jerry Dandridge and yeah, that for anybody that grew up with that movie, it's sexy. I mean, it is just sexy, and there's really nothing you can't not like about it. I mean, it's really an amazing movie. So it's iconic at this point.
Sure,
Yeah, I
absolutely.
still watch it. With Chris Sarandon did such a great job,
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
at first he said no. Did you hear that story? At first he wasn't going to do the movie. I guess he didn't want to be typecast. And then they explained to him how it was going to be. Like, you're the next door neighbor. Everybody thinks that Charlie's crazy, but you just happen to be a vampire too. Like they explained to him that it was
Yeah.
like a modernized, it wasn't like like a black and white vampire movie. They actually told him more of the story, and then he agreed to do it, which I thought that was very
Hmm.
interesting that he initially turned it down. That's one of his more popular roles, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think there's other vampire movies coming out. I know they're trying to make another Lost Boys movie. That's the rumor. They always trying to reboot it. Did you guys hear about that?
I
I've
haven't
heard
heard
rumors.
that. Yeah.
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 I've been hearing
I think we're
rumors,
still in the
but
rumor phase.
yeah, yeah. I have no idea what to expect. But if there's a high bar that they're going to have to meet, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they gotta have a well-written story. I know this original sequel, I think what Schumacher wanted was a girls' tribe of vampires. Did you hear about that? There was like a script out there you can look online, whereas all female instead of Lost Boys was Lost Girls, and they were
I
going to be
think
the new vampire villains.
that was actually supposed to be one of the sequels. I think that they were originally thinking. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of on our episode that we did with V Neal. Uh, I reviewed The Lost Boys, and she actually in that episode gives some other little secrets and trivia about the movie. One of them being that when they did the cave scene, they actually imported there's when they go into the cave to get the vampires, there's flies everywhere. And they imported these flies, and they were the kind of flies that couldn't reproduce, but they imported like thousands and thousands of them. And when they let them go, like for a couple of days after, the whole area, the neighborhoods, everything were infested with these flies. From the
I can
movie.
only imagine.
And actually, she was the first one to, everybody attributes Twilight with sparkling, vampire sparkling, but actually V. Neal was the first one to make vampire sparkle. When they come out of the cave, that she needed to make the blood pop in the sunlight, so she put glitter in the blood. And so if you watch, she's actually the first one to make vampires sparkle. So that's kind of neat.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And as you know, the new Buffy series is coming out. We hope that it is as good as the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer run. What do you guys think about that?
Is Joss
I had
Whedon
not
involved?
I had not
No,
heard
it's
that.
some other woman, I believe, directing. It's going to come out on Hulu next year.
Okay. Yeah.
Actually,
Sarah
had not
Michelle
heard
is
that.
back.
Okay.
Huh.
Yeah. I'll watch an episode and see how it goes. Yeah.
I
'cause that
actually
came
had
out
not heard that. Yeah.
in the 90s. Like it was, Joss Whedon explained it was supposed to be like a metaphor for high school. Like, the vampires were like your problems or issues in high school. And as you know, he got upset because the fans ended up liking the vampires more than Buffy. They liked
Right.
Angel and Spike and Drusilla. And he's like, no, you're not supposed to like these characters. They're the villains.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Everybody
what I
loves a
like
bad
about
boy.
him. I mean,
Yeah.
I love the Angel spinoff. That's one of my favorites. I mean,
Oh, yeah. I wish they never would have
yeah.
canceled it.
I know.
Yeah, and that's
Well,
one of our.
it.
And that's actually one of the earlier Irish vampires that we Eva and I have had a long running discussion now about a panel discussion that we're gonna that we dreamed up, but now we'll actually have a chance to moderate in July at the Imaginarium convention. Or rather, has Ireland become the new Transylvania, evolving vampire origins? And Angel is one of the earlier Irish vampires with his Claddagh ring and everything, and then it continues. The evolution continues from there, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we had all these different private detective vampire shows. You had Forever Night, you had
I love
Angel, and then
Forever
you had
Night.
Moonlight. Remember Moonlight?
Yep.
Another
Moonlight.
like Irish vampire.
Yeah. See.
Yep. You got Cassidy from Preacher. You have I'm drawing it from the vampire that was on Being Human. I can't think of his name, but he was an Irish vampire. And then you've got Remick from Sinners. Yep. So you have all of these Irish vampires. So it's kind of the origin. Is it the new Transylvania? Because we're seeing a lot more coming up.
The fairy is vampire. They're like vampire, like the fae or fairy out there.
Yeah.
They can drain people's blood and attack people. So that's like their vampires out there. So maybe it is that got turned into what we have now as fiction here. They're using some of that.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but also we should note that Bram Stoker was Irish, and he borrowed from Irish myths and legends. So the Abhartach legend, also the Dreg Dwy. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. My Celtic is not good, but there are several legends that I've been sort of refreshing my memory about, and they are fascinating. They're legit vampires, I mean, it's really there's a lot to unpack there, but I'm looking forward to the panel discussion.
Yeah, because out there, like Halloween came across to America, but they took it serious out there. I was watching some documentary on Prime about how they weren't supposed to go in the woods at those times in fear of being kidnapped by the fairy, the fae, and being eaten. Basically, they're like cannibals. They'll eat the people, the blood and the organs, and
Yeah,
the fae are portrayed as being cute with wings and sweet. They're really not. When you look at the legends and the history, they're really not. They're not sweet.
Yeah,
they're not Tinkerbell or anything like that.
No, they're not Tinkerbell.
Right.
Tinkerbell with fangs. Tinkerbell with fangs.
Tinkerbell with fangs. That's right. and an appetite for fresh meat. Yes.
Well, wasn't it supposed to be like a vampire Peter Pan movie, right? Something like that. That's what I heard.
I would
Originally, The
l-
Lost Boys, right?
It,
yeah,
it was
right.
it was based on a version of Peter Pan. Yeah, yeah. Wendy
Yeah.
and the Lost Boys. Yes. Yep.
They
So
could have done that. They could have had Tinkerbell with fangs. That'd have been interesting.
that would have been interesting.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
did you enjoy Sinners then?
I
The movie?
loved Sinners. I loved Sinners. I thought they did a phenomenal job. You know, the great thing about it is you could have taken the vampires out and still had a great movie. But adding the vampires in just kind of enhanced it. No, I truly loved it. Yeah. What about you, Dan?
Yeah. I loved it too. I loved every character in the in that movie. I also liked that it's structured similarly to From Dusk Till Dawn, in that you're really getting two different movies for the price of one. It starts out as a crime kind of a movie, and then or a gangster movie, and then suddenly a vampire arrives and changes everything. It was really cool how they did that, I thought. And I thought the guy who played Remick was exceptional.
Mm-hmm. He really
I
was.
guess like there was the vampire metaphor. That one was many different metaphors, especially when they're playing the music and they're going through, different cultures. And that's what I grasped from it. That was their metaphor for what vampires are.
Cultural appropriation
Yeah.
of black music and culture. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and there's a lot in the just in the blues business itself. The record companies and everything. So I just thought that was fascinating the way they dealt with that in Sinners.
Yeah, it was a very touching scene during that music playing when they're singing and dancing. You had to really watch it to kind of understand what they were going after. And I thought that was pretty smart, that scene.
Oh,
Yeah, not only
everything about that movie was very well thought out. It was most things that were done very intentionally with meaning. So when you start going really deep into even the the at the end there are images of newspapers, and if you analyze the newspapers, you actually get a history of Remick and how long he was purportedly in America. I mean, everything in that movie was done with extreme purpose. And it's when you actually, dissect it, it's pretty masterful. It really is.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, they did their research because there is really Native American vampire hunters, and I'm trying to get one on my show to talk about their folklore because that's some of that Sinners is true. There really was a group of shamans or medicine men that hunted these
The
creatures
Choctaw.
down. Yep.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool that they put that in there.
We said it would be neat to have a spinoff with the Choctaw. That would be a neat spinoff.
Or a prequel to Sinners?
Yeah,
possibly.
prequel, yeah,
As a prequel,
absolutely.
yeah,
that would
work.
be a great prequel. Yeah, they really, the one thing they didn't do in the movie, and you really have to do the research to understand it, but they didn't explain the reason why the Choctaw were chasing Remick. And so that's, I thought they left that kind of open. So I think there's a possibility there that they might do that.
Yeah, because maybe to them it's like the Wendigo. That's cannibalistic spirit that eats people. Maybe they have to protect the tribe or the area.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, the theory is that Remick, came to America and he was looking for these special people who could call back the ancestors, and the Choctaw actually gave money to Ireland during the potato famine. They really resonated with the plight of the Irish community, and they gave the equivalent of about $3,500, which back then was huge. And so Remick, the theory is that Remick would have come to the U.S. and he would have naturally sought out the Choctaw just because of that relationship with them. And of course, when he shows up, the Choctaw would have immediately recognized him for what he is and would have then hunted him. So that's kind of the backstory behind it. Now, whether they, that that's what people have pieced together through history. Like I said, everything in the movie was done with great intention. And so I think that story was there. They were alluding to that story, and just, through all the research and everything, people have come up with that theory. So then Remick was actually supposed to be in the US about 20 years prior. So there's definitely opening for some, follow up.
Yeah, I sure hope he does. That would be awesome. I know you brought up From Dusk Till Dawn. Did you guys watch the TV series From Dusk Till Dawn?
I watched the first 2 episodes and I thought it was good, but then I just got distracted by other things, and so it was fine. I'm still not sure why they needed to create a series based on that movie, but they did, and the story continues, and that's great. But remakes, tend to confuse me a little bit. Like, why are you doing this? Why can't you just basically you could just get a DVD or buy the stream it on Amazon, and you could get the original film in 2 hours rather than stretching it out over an entire season. This is probably the almighty dollar, speaking, but
I was like Dan. I tried it. It didn't hold me. So, kudos
I think
for them
it's
for trying.
because it's a popular name, like John Carpenter said. If you have like a popular name, you think you're guaranteed to get money. That's why they do it, I believe. These like the Halloween movies.
Sure, that kind of branding is very powerful. Stephen King is more than anything a brand for the last several decades. And that's great if you have that cachet. But I do think that becomes. I would like to see original storytelling celebrated more and recognized more by the decision makers at studios.
They redid his Salem's Lot. What did you guys think about that? That was on HBO Max.
I didn't care for it. There are certain movies that they're too good as originals. There's no, Fright Night, Salem's Lot. Yeah, one of the things that we've discussed in the past is we had Brian from Toothpickings, who is the foremost expert on Blackula. And one of the things that we discussed after going through all the history, and like, you would never listen to the podcast, because I never in a million years would have thought Blackula was such a pivotal movie. But there was so many barriers broken with that movie. And, our discussion ended with, would a remake be able to be done, and would it do justice, to the original, and in today's environment? And I think one of the things we came up with was that the director. Yeah.
That's all I could think of was Craven's Vampire in Brooklyn tried.
Yeah. Yeah. I think to do Blackula correct, I think we all came to the agreement that it would have to be the director who did Sinners.
Ryan Coogler?
In order to really, but I mean, certain movies they're good. They don't, a remake of the Lost Boys. I don't know, I don't know. Dracula's been done so many times that I think it's okay to remake Dracula and to freshen up the story. The same with Nosferatu. There's certain stories okay, but then others are they're perfect the way they are. Just let them be, and like Dan said, focus on something new.
Bring back Count Yorga. I watch those late at night sometimes. You ever watch Count Yorga? They had the return of Count Yorga too.
Yeah, I'm aware of Count Yorga. I've seen a little bit here and there. Yeah, no, I totally dig it.
That was like the 70s, right?
I will say
70s version.
Yeah. I will say that I know, Dan, you talked about taking a movie and extending it out. One that did work, though, was What We Do in the Shadows. I mean, phenomenal. The movie is phenomenal, and the series is phenomenal. So that's one that it absolutely worked, and it worked brilliantly.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, and for the series to work, they had to bring it to the U.S. They had to make an American production, I think, for that to connect with audiences here. But the movie itself is really, really good. It feels very well. I mean, of course they're New Zealanders, but it still has like a British, kind of like humor overlay about that I like. So the original film is definitely worth seeing, but the remake series is especially that first season. It's really good.
And then they had that, was it They Live Among Us? That was kind of like supposed to be a mockumentary about vampires. That was an interesting movie.
Mockumentary
Where
saw
they send it, yeah. Where they
yeah,
send that film crew.
oh, yeah. Wouldn't it have been awesome if Christopher Guest and Michael McKean did that, as opposed, since they are the kings of mockumentary, Spinal Tap, Best in Show, that sort of thing. That would have been. I think there's an opportunity wasted there.
Yeah, it's like they can't seem to determine if they want the vampire to be funny or scary sometimes. What do you guys prefer? Do you want the old classic scary vampires, or are you more of the comedic route?
May I start this one, Eva? I have
sure,
a
go for
strong
it.
opinion about it. Okay.
Go for it.
I think that you have to decide right away if this is going to be funny. With a little bit, of course, the vampires are a little bit scary. They're always going to be a little bit scary. But if you got to decide if it's going to be a comedy and a loving parody, then you got to start out funny and pretty much keep it funny throughout the entire thing, in order for it to succeed. I think that's the formula that would work. Jumping back and forth between funny and scary, it can work in horror. I'm thinking of American Werewolf in London. But in the end, it was always more funny than it was scary. I think the balance tilted that direction.
I'm with Dan. I mean, one or the other. The ones that have tried to go back and forth haven't done very well. I love the sexy. Don't get me wrong, I really do. But I also really love the scary. I loved Voyage of the Demeter. I loved that they took that and the vampire in that is, or Dracula in that is, the bat-like creature. So yeah, in the end, I think I love them all. There's been very few that I've watched that I haven't liked or haven't been able to respect on some level. Currently there's one that I'm having trouble getting through, and that's Let the Wrong One In.
Okay.
It's that one's a little rough. That one's a little rough.
The remake,
of course,
or the original?
The original.
Okay.
No, that not the right one, the wrong one. This is the parody, but one of the things that we talked about, we both revealed our guilty pleasures, and guilty pleasures meaning these are the movies that are so bad, but we will watch them all the time. Like we will watch them every time they come on. And mine is 1974 Dracula's Dog. It's horrible. It's but it's at the same time, it's one of those movies that every time it's on, or I'll actually sit down once a year at least. I'm going to watch that movie. Like that's it. I just, it's so ridiculous, but it's so much fun at the same time. And Dan, I'll let you tell yours.
Yeah. So, for whatever reason, if it's on, I will watch it. And it's earlier, Michael, you talked about John Carpenter. John Carpenter did not direct Vampiros Los Muertos, but it was supposed to be the sequel to John Carpenter's Vampires, but it really wasn't.
Bon Jovi, yep.
John Bon Jovi and Natasha Wagner and some other people. It's not well written. It's not well acted. It's pretty bad, but compelling. I can't. It's like watching. It's not just a train wreck. There's something I'm trying to figure out about this film. Why did they even bother making this film? But it still is interesting to me, and I'll be endlessly curious about this film. I just cannot recommend it. But if it's on, I'm gonna stop what I'm going to. I'll stop what I'm doing and I'll watch it because for some reason, at some level, it still kind of works for me, and I don't know why.
It's a slight remake of the first John Carpenter movie, Vampires, which is his Western horror movie that he always wanted to make.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that one was a good one. That one was really good. James Woods plays a really good vampire hunter. I mean, when he's beating up on that priest,
Yeah,
he's telling
Yeah,
him the
well,
rules.
that film gets a lot of respect in the horror community, and yeah, absolutely. So, why was the sequel so bad? I don't know because they didn't even bother to make it a sequel. It just made it, there's very little that connects the second film to the first. Very little. But yeah, there you are. Guilty
those
pleasure.
are guilty
Well, it's like
pleasures. Yeah.
Wes Craven's Dracula movies. Remember, there was like 3 of them, and they really didn't connect. Or
Yeah.
they had a different guy playing vampires, Gerard Butler, and then some 2 other guys that you don't even. I mean, Roger, I think they had for the third one.
Mm-hmm. Wrecker. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was weird. Like they made so many sequels of that one. That was interesting.
Yeah,
One of
it's
the best.
so interesting to know to see that, to recognize that there's so much out there that is bad in the vampire genre, but there are these moments, these towering moments when you get Robert Eggers' Nosferatu, or Ryan Coogler's Sinners, or this next one apparently that's coming out, directed by Luc Besson, starring
Yes.
Caleb Landry Jones, that I
Yeah.
think as the advanced praise on that one is serious. So I am heartened that there are these enormous artistic successes. Maybe they won't be commercial successes, I don't know, or how much, but to see them as artistic successes is really encouraging, and it makes me feel like it's worth all of our time to talk about vampires, vampire legends, and lore, and the artistry around bringing them to life.
There's 2 on Tubi you guys could watch. They got Innocent Blood, which is John Landis vampire attempt, and then they
Yep.
got one called Pale Blood, which is interesting vampire movie. I enjoy that one a lot.
I haven't seen that one, but Innocent Blood I
Yeah.
do recall seeing, and it's not bad. You get some comedy with the mobsters and all that, and that's okay. It feels like a Landis film, and actually, yeah, I might end up reviewing that one day because it's pretty good. There were some notable films in the 1990s. That would be, or was that like early 90s, like 91 maybe?
Yeah.
But there are some others out there, including Addiction, The Addiction.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that one, New York, black and white, is really good, and some others as well that are what I would call under the radar films from the 90s that are really actually quite good.
That's why I like Tubi, because they have all these old 70s, 80s like independent vampire movies if you want to watch one late at night. And some of them are well written.
There's
Yeah.
one, I think
They are.
there's one that Eva and I are familiar with that is still, I think, on Tubi, and it is a comedy called Therapy for a Vampire. It's an Austrian Swiss production, so it's in German,
Yeah.
and it's set in the 1930s. The premise is Sigmund Freud, the famed psychoanalyst, has a new patient, a dapper count or Graf, and he can only see the doctor at night.
Night.
And so, and it's really good. I think it's a really good film.
And it's one that plays with one of Dan's favorite tropes, and that's the throwing coins or
Could be
pins or
marbles,
seeds or
yeah,
marbles and on the
Oh
floor.
yeah.
And
coins,
they have to stop
whatever.
and count them.
Yeah, and that's of course where we get Count. That's the origin story of Count von Count,
Yes.
from Sesame Street.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yep.
Yeah,
I
they have to
think that.
put knots too. Knots out.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
I forgot
yeah,
about that one. I
yeah.
did. I forgot
That's
about
right.
that one. Yeah. That's
So many
fun.
tropes.
There's
Yeah.
so many.
So St. Andrew's Day is coming up, and some of the old villages in Transylvania, Romania, Bucharest, they still do that stuff. They rub the garlic on the door, the windows. So that's the most powerful vampire holiday. And they'll put the knots out, and it's got to be enough knots till the sun rises, so the vampire has to get the heck out of there and get back to its resting place.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Oh,
We
I
should
love
maybe
all that.
we should maybe cover that one on Vamp Chat, Dan.
I'm going to do a little research on that one.
Yeah.
I got to get familiar with it again, but yes, I would like to do that. To have a discussion about that. Maybe bring in some expert on it. I don't know. Yeah.
And there's a lot of vampire hunters out there. I had a few I interviewed that was very interesting. And they do have the vampire kits. They have them. They're passed down from their mentors, and they have the stakes. You show the stakes, the holy water, all that stuff.
Huh.
It's pretty interesting.
How successful have their hunts been? I mean, are they pursuing their quarry how often?
So that's what I'm wondering. Like, they could still be out there doing their stuff. I know they have a whole museum, as you know, in Pennsylvania. You can go in there, and they have one that's 500 years old vampire kit that a family inherited that they gave to the museum. So it must have been going on, taken serious.
Yeah, for a long
There
time.
might be something to it. I know there was, Sean Manchester. Remember the Highgate Vampire? That was a book he wrote. Supposedly was hunting vampires in England.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. Yeah. But the profession of vampire hunter, especially in fiction, it goes way beyond just Abraham Van Helsing. I love the vampire hunter getting as much attention as the actual vampire themselves. And that's that's what makes the original Fright Night so compelling. The character with the biggest arc of that entire 1985 film is Roddy McDowall's character. Peter Vincent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He starts off as a cowardly guy. I mean, he's of course he can stand up in front of a camera and play a vampire hunter. I am Peter Vincent, But when confronted with actual vampires, he has to go through this whole process of confronting his fear, overcoming that, and then becoming an actual vampire hunter. That's what makes one of the reasons I think of Fright Night was such a successful film.
And they had him holding the stake, Ron. If you watch it closely, Tom Holland did that on purpose. When he's on the TV, Peter Vincent, he's actually holding the stake the wrong way. If you watch in one of the scenes.
And that harks back. That actually harks back to something else, live, low-budget television, and you would even see some things similar to that, that were just off or wrong completely in Dark Shadows when that was airing live. Sometimes you see a microphone dip down, or at the end when the credits are rolling. I remember in one episode, like some guy on this who just part of the crew who like passes by a window and suddenly realizes he's still on camera and he freezes.
And he was a reluctant character, Barnabas Collins. That was an interesting take on a vampire when he joined the series to save it. The character that he became human and then became vampire again, and he didn't want to. It was like huge, I don't want to be this vampire. That was interesting, right? Interesting take.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Frid was, I think, really good in that role. And the character Barnabas Collins there's a lot of meat on that bone. There's a lot to explore there with that character. And I'm going to recommend that rather than go through and watch each episode, one after the other, just rent the 2-hour plus film, I think House of Dark Shadows. I think that's what it was called, where you get to see the entire thing, the entire storyline, end to end in about 2 hours. It's actually kind of worth your time. It's not bad.
Not the comedic Johnny Depp turn. That's another one that they went real comedic. It could have been something cool and gothic, and then it became just a Tim Burton movie, like goofy Willy Wonka type deal.
Ones. Yeah, not one of Tim Burton's better ones. I mean, it's. I think Eva Green kind of saves it because, well, this is completely biased. If she's in something, I will watch it. But Depp did an okay job, but I think for whatever reason they decided to make it just lighten it up and make it a lark or something like that. And that's fine, I guess. I hope it made money. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it had Johnny Depp in it, so I mean, Johnny Depp is more of a comedic. He's. I mean, Pirates of the Caribbean, and he does that very well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, Christopher Lee's last movie, right? That was one of his last movies before he passed. He was in Dark Shadows with Johnny Depp.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the timeline because he was also played Saruman in Lord of the Rings, which would have been around that time, I think. So yeah. So I guess
I think they said
that is
something.
yeah. So I think that's probably that year or two. That's probably his last stuff. Although he
Yeah.
continued to sing in
Yeah.
metal bands, he like singing like these thrash metal bands, throughout the '90s and into the 2000s. Yeah, it's kind of wild.
And supposedly he had a cult library, right?
I'm sorry.
Christopher Lee. He supposedly had an occult library after Christopher
Oh,
Lee. That's what the
oh, that
rumors are.
the rumor is,
I
yeah,
had not
is he
heard
the
that.
next? Yeah, maybe I have not really heard that either. I mean, I've heard like
Yeah, I hadn't heard that.
rumors of it, like is he the next Aleister Crowley or whatever, or was he? I don't know, but it would be kind of cool to have. Wouldn't each one of us want to have our own Gothic occult library? I mean, think about that. That would be kind of cool.
I do have
Yeah, it
one. What are
would.
you talking about? I've got one.
Yeah, same here. I've got titles like how to cast spells and curses and
Yeah,
whatnot.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
We're Gothic horror authors. We have to have the research. So I
Research,
mean,
yep, like Bram
Yes.
Stoker did. He went to the library and
yep,
wow, he
Yep.
looked up a lot of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to hear his great grandnephew Dacre Stoker talk about all the research. I mean, we've been to, Eva and I went to at least 2 events with Dacre in early October. One was called Dissecting Dracula, where he presents the actual notes and, copies of the notes. And Brahms' handwriting is just atrocious. But once you
Horrible.
actually once you get into it and find out where he is at each stage in the research and what he's deciding to leave out or add in, it's all very fascinating. How he got, I think maybe on the advice of his editor, he got rid of 300 words or so, or 300 pages. I mean,
no, 120 pages in the beginning, and then the ending is completely different from what was written.
Yeah, and then that went into the novel or short story Dracula's Guest. I think.
Yeah.
Either way,
Yeah.
Wasn't it supposed to be a true story, right? That's what Dacre told me, but they said you can't put that on there because he got those newspaper articles, remember, from the vampires of New England. So he wanted to like, this is based on a.
Right. So the Mercy Brown case certainly intrigued Bram Stoker, and got him really thinking about the grave as a part of the story. Yeah.
All right. Did any of you guys want to share any of your favorite vampire characters or movies that the audience should check out?
You want to go first, Eva?
Oh, that I think that the audience should check out. Absolutely, Dracula's dog. No. Oh, geez, I'm trying to think of ones that Dan, you're better with the more obscure.
Well, I don't know how obscure it is, but I really did like the 2008 Swedish film "Let the Right One In." I thought that was exceptionally well done and different. So it said something new. It had something new to say, which I appreciated. I think everybody should see. If you want a comedy, though, Therapy for a Vampire is really good.
Therapy for a Vampire.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, What We Do in the Shadows, the movie and the TV series.
Yes.
Are very much worth your time. Yeah.
Yes. And believe it or not, I actually liked Renfield. I don't know why.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But I liked Renfield.
Nicolas Cage.
It's I went in with 0 expectations, so maybe maybe that helped.
I think Nicholas Hoult
I kind of
was good in that. Nicholas Hoult was good in it. Yeah. Nick Cage is just Nick Cage. I mean, he's always going to be that larger than life presence, and he did it well. But yeah, I think Nicholas Hoult was a real surprise for me. So I guess it didn't surprise me all that much when he was cast in Robert Eggers' Nosferatu as well.
Yeah, and
that was weird. He's in both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't stress enough. Go see the new Dracula when it comes out. I mean that is. I've not been that riveted in a very long time. And one of the things that Dan, I haven't even talked to you about this, so I guess you're learning about this too. But I overheard somebody talking about the reemergence, I guess, of the Gothic, because not only with this new Dracula, but then the new Frankenstein, coming out, and just this reemergence of that Gothic feel. And I thought that's something that I'm excited about, really, really excited about as a Gothic horror author. But yeah, the Gothic is coming back.
May it continue. I think that's
We're
exciting.
We're in. Finally.
Yeah.
No.
We're
Yeah.
stylish. We're trending.
Yeah, we're trending.
Gothic is pretty cool, you know.
Yeah.
Some of those older Gothic movies were always nice. And yeah, it seems like they are going that direction. I know Universal's keeps trying to start the Dark Universe. They had Dracula Untold, as you remembered.
Yeah.
And then they tried this Wolfman movie, which I saw, but it was okay. It was nothing
horrible.
like, it wasn't really going to start the Dark World.
No.
Yeah.
I wasn't thrilled.
But if Robert Eggers is going to really pursue this werewolf film, I will watch it. I will absolutely do this. I'll go in for that. I do like his directing style. So
well, and we haven't even talked about the whole Underworld.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
we can go into that too. They're supposed to be making another one. You guys
really?
heard?
I hadn't heard that either.
Supposedly, Kate Beckinsale's coming back in that. I don't know if they'll get Scott Speedman back. It sucks he's not in the other movies. I don't know if it was the money or he played a great character, Michael, in those movies, and
yeah. My favorite is probably maybe it's the third one, Rise of the Lycans.
Yes.
I really liked that one. Yeah, that one really I think is as a complete package, as a complete movie, really worked for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll see yeah, the whole franchise, they jumped in the future. Did you notice that? Maybe they couldn't get some of the actors back, like the guy who played Victor.
Yeah, Bill Nye.
Yeah,
Bill Nye. Yeah, because he's. Yeah. Well, maybe they'll encourage him to come back, or lure him back with the promise of being an undead god, a Gothic lord, or something like that.
I thought I saw where he's in a new movie that's got a Gothic-y kind of feel to it. I can't remember what it is, but I saw a preview and I was like, oh, I know who that is.
Yeah.
What did you think of the Invitation vampire movie? That was interesting, wasn't it? Or Dracula's Bride?
That was different. Different. I loved it up until I gotta admit I wasn't really jazzed with the ending, but I thought up until the ending it was really good. I don't know. Sometimes I think they do such a good job, and then they get like long-winded, and then they have to rush it closed a lot of times, or budgets get cut, or hey, we're over budget. We got to end this. I liked it. It wasn't my favorite. Now, Abigail, absolutely loved.
So, oh yeah, that was a good one. Her father was creepy.
Yeah, yeah. And there's actually and I know I reviewed it, but there's the illusion that is Dracula. So I found it really funny that they touted it as a remake of Dracula's Daughter, but it had nothing. It was nothing like Dracula's Daughter, so it was kind of like whatever.
Is that the actor from Discovery of Witches, right? The same vampire guy?
Matthew Good. Right? Yeah, Matthew Good, a great actor, by the way.
Yeah.
Do you guys like Discovery of Witches as the series versus the book?
I did not read the books, but I seen it. Yeah, but I watched the first season, and it was all right. I thought it was pretty good. Set in Cambridge? That looked really fascinating, and I actually kind of enjoyed it. It was one of those, you got to have something. My wife and I sometimes struggle to find something to watch together, and that was one where we agreed we could sit down and watch it. So,
yeah. I didn't watch it mainly because I didn't have the streaming service that it came on, and I have like 20 streaming services, and I really didn't want to add another. So that's just being honest. But I was excited. I was watching, I was kind of checking it out, like, when is it going to be on something else? The one thing that I'm kind of excited about to see is the Talmasca. I'm very interested to see the Talmasca. I know it's already out, and it's another streaming service I'm going to have to get, but I'll get it.
Yeah.
That was the next thing I was going to touch on. How did you feel about the changes for Interview the Vampire, the AMC series? They went a little bit different, because I talked to Anne Rice before she passed, and they said that was all the studio wanted to do that.
Yeah,
grounded in reality.
Should I soapbox, Dan?
For it, yeah.
So when Anne first got the rights back to her to interview and the whole 9 yards, she had posted out to her fan page. I'm a huge Anne Rice fan, by the way, and she had posted out to her fan page that she was so excited to get the rights back, and she wrote the screenplay for Interview with the Vampire. She loved it. She thought everything about it was perfect. She didn't want to change anything, and she wanted to do a Game of Thrones style series, where she started with book 2. And that's how she originally wanted to do it. And then, then she passed, and they started getting ready to make it. And I'm very, very much a purist. I'm very much when it comes to her and her novels, I had trouble. I had a lot of trouble. I watched the first episode, and I really just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. And so I'm going to try and do it again. But we'll see. If I can get past the changes, I really want to pick up on season 2, or I guess it's season 2. I'm not sure, but where they're starting to get into the Vampire Lestat book. That's what I'm really excited to see where they go with that part. But I don't know. I just couldn't get into it.
I watched the first season. Yeah, so I watched the first season, and I actually felt that the changes they made were appropriate to the time that we're I guess still living in, and I felt like the creators kept the spirit of Anne Rice, but moved her characters along into something that an era that we would recognize. And I don't know, for me it kind of made sense the way they did that. I thought it was well done. I am curious about the new Lestat series coming out. I think that will be fascinating.
Yeah, he's supposed to be the Rock, right, from the Queen. Remember the Queen of the Dan movie where he's a rock artist or whatever?
Yeah, he becomes a rock star. Yeah. Well, actually, it's not the Vampire. The second book is the Vampire Lestat. That's where he becomes the rock star. And then Queen of the Damned at the end of the Vampire Lestat is when he wakes up Akasha, and that goes into the third book, Queen of the Damned. So they took the two in the movies, they took the two and mashed them together and kind of really destroyed the whole story. So I'm kind of curious to see if they stick with the books, or how this flows from here. So
yeah, because I want to know what year it is, like what kind of music he's playing. Like, is it the 90s? Like, it makes you wonder which way they're going to go with it.
Yeah. I very much loved the soundtrack from the one thing that was really good about Queen of the Damned, not that Aaliyah wasn't great, and if you take it on its own story, it's a good story. It just didn't follow the books, but the music, the soundtrack was amazing. It was
agreed.
Is it Jonathan Davis from Korn, right?
Yeah, Jonathan did the music for the movie. He could not be on the soundtrack. There was contractual issues, so he never made it to the soundtrack. That's why you have David Draymond from Disturbed doing one of the Lestat songs, and you have other artists. I think Manson's on there. That's why you have the other artists on the actual soundtrack. Jonathan couldn't do it, but he did the voice of Lestat in the movie. So
I hope they do Forsaken. I like that song. It's a good song, isn't it? The beginning, the movie opens.
Song. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yep.
Yeah.
So closing out here, I know you guys have some events coming up. Would you like to tell the audience where they can meet and greet you and maybe get an autograph on their books or posters if they have posters of your books?
Well, let me just start by saying that we have one event definitely, set, and that we have a couple others that we're working on. Possibly one in New Orleans in the spring. But July 17 to 19, you will definitely find Eva and I at the Imaginarium Convention in Louisville. That's at the Holiday Inn Louisville East, and you can find more information at entertheimaginarium.com. But Eva and I will be there with handing out Vamp Chat swag and autographing copies of our own vampire novels.
We'll also be moderating the panel discussion, Is Ireland the New Transylvania? So that's going to be a big thing. And then, of course, season 2 is going to start for oh my gosh, I have my numbers. Season 4. Where did I get to? Season 4 will start a Vamp Chat, I think in February. So
Awesome.
we're gonna start season 4. Already billing that out. We actually, when we were at Scarefest, we ran into several celebrities who expressed interest on being on the show. So we're reaching out to them to see if we can get all that scheduled, and looking for other, authors and creatives, as well as some experts on the folklore side of things. So we're building out season 4 and season 5. Season 5 will actually start live at the Imaginarium. We actually will be interviewing Heather Graham, who is a New York Times bestselling author. She's written 200 plus books, 70 million copies in print. I mean, it's crazy. So we'll be interviewing her there. But so we're hoping to be back at Scarefest next fall. We're just building out next year's agenda. So keep an eye out on Facebook. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram. You can go to vampchatwithdanandeva.com. And that's where we will post all the events that we're going to be attending. So it's going to be an exciting year next year.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always exciting. On the last note here, do you guys think that your books might get picked up for either TV series or movie eventually here coming? You never know, because they're always looking for fresh blood, so to say, in the media,
I would
vampire
love it.
media.
I would love it if they would.
Yeah. I was fortunate enough to get Fiona's Guardians adapted by an all-professional acting company in Northern Illinois called Artists Ensemble Theater, and they adapted Fiona's Guardians for their Mysterious Journey audio podcast. It's kind of like a the 1930s and 40s radio play where you have the actors. There were 7 actors reading the lines, and of course there's music and sound effects and stuff like that. They took 3 or 4, maybe 5 chapters of my book and gave it an entire arc lasting about 25 minutes, and it worked for me. I thought it was a really great adaptation. It's one of the things I'm most proud of, actually. Yeah. So maybe a movie, who knows?
A Fury's been sent off to one producer already that I know of, but I think they might be waiting for book 2 and 3. I'm getting photobombed here. But yeah, I would love it. I think that would be incredible. One of the things that, when we interviewed J.R. Ward, her book, Dark Lover, got picked up by Passionflix, and they've turned it into a 6-part series, which if there's any females watching this and guys, this goes out to you, have your girlfriends watch, stream Passionflix and watch Dark Lover. It's the Black Dagger Brotherhood series. And so, that's one that it's phenomenal. But we asked her about, what was it like to have your story, actually see your story come to life. And she said it was just really eerie. It was very, very eerie to watch it all come to life, but exciting at the same time. So I think that would be phenomenal.
That's awesome. And I want to say thank you for coming on tonight and being my guest. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, we really enjoyed talking with you, Michael.
All right. And everybody, thanks for tuning in and have a great evening.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.